Little things can mean a lot when you're on the search for valuable, rare relics. In our next story, Rob Wiles takes us to meet Charles Runyon, a Wilson County historian who's always on the search for relics that relate to one of the biggest and most important chapters in American history.
Collectors are a focused bunch. They will look through field and forest trying to find that perfect piece for their collection, the one that's in mint condition. And then there's Charles Runyon. For him, this is mint condition.
What you would do is you would be looking through the target.
Charles Runyon has so many interesting things to show visitors to his collection, Wings Remembered, which is housed near Lebanon, including this bomb site, which helped the Allies drive the Nazis to their knees. How did Runyon come to own a bomb site? Well, Runyon is an expert on the air battles of World War II, and his massive collection began as a small thing more than 30 years ago.
Back in 1979, I got two items. One was from an American POW. It was a tail swastika that was cut off a German aircraft, and he was in a POW camp. He had walked to a fighter repair yard and removed that from an aircraft and took it back, and there's 22 signatures on it from his fellow POWs. Then there was another, it was a piece from an Italian aircraft from North Africa, and it just kind of grew from there by leaps and bounds.
There are thousands of pieces in his collection, many of them damaged or misshapen, only natural since they came from the actual sites where American planes went down during World War II, sites which Runyon researches and visits, searching for, well, anything.
You know, we're going to Europe now and working crash sites of our aircraft that were lost during the war. In addition to the sites that I've been on and worked, I have a network of people all over Europe that when they find the crash sites or items recovered from our aircraft, be it at the time they crashed or stuff that's been dug up from a crash site, then we get boxes in all the time. Every crash site, regardless of the area it is in, there's always something. It may be a rivet, a small piece of aluminum, but there's always something in every crash site.
These sites are more than just scatterings of rusting metal to Runyon. They are hallowed ground where brave men crashed to their deaths. Brave men who had families and may still have them. Families Runyon tries to find to bring them whatever information he has found.
Once we do the crash site and get the artifacts back, then you start the process of what mission was it on? What was the date of the mission? What was the purpose? You know, who made it out, who didn't? And then, you know, locating families to try to get photographs or anything to go along with the display so that, you know, the public can view this, you know, and remember what happened, you know, on that particular day to those individuals, to that aircraft.
Men flew these aircraft. Men risked and sometimes lost their lives fighting the enemies of freedom. A momentous effort marked by small pieces. To Runyon, more than collecting.
Remembering what these people did, you know, to keep the world free. You know, they you know, sacrificed their lives, and, you know, they came back, the ones that came back, you know, they helped build, you know, a new America after the war. Now, you said you flew how many missions during the war?
I flew 24 missions.
Once in a while, Runyon gets to actually meet one of the men who fought that war and forged the future. Men like Mac McClenny, a skinny kid who yearned to fly and got his wish in the deadly skies over Europe. 24 missions, almost cut tragically short much sooner.
Now, my third mission was Cologne, Germany, and after we had dropped the bombs, we saw something flying through the air, and it hit our left wing between number 1 and number 2 engine, and we could tell everything we could see was still operating okay. So we continued on in formation and brought it home, and this is the item that hit my wing.
A German anti-aircraft shell scored a direct hit, but did not explode.
But if it had gone off, it'd have blown the wing off.
Intelligence reports found the Germans using slave labor to put shells together. Many of these laborers would do anything they could to sabotage those shells to keep the Allied planes flying, often attaching the fuses to the shells incorrectly so they'd come off in flight rather than at the target. A little thing, a fuse, a little thing that saved Mac McClinney. Mac still has that unexploded shell today.
I ought to put that in a museum somewhere, but maybe when I pass on, somebody else can get it to show, because that's history.
History which might eventually find a home at Wings Remembered, alongside the other things in Charles Runyon's collection of little things, each with a big, moving, remarkable story behind it.